In a world where left is up and right is apparently wrong, do souls make sense of it all? Or at least have fun trying? Gear up, friends, for Chicken and the Dawg.
Welcome to another episode of Chicken and the Dawg. I am the dog, and with me, as always, is the guy that is like a Timex. He takes the licking and keeps on ticking. The chicken. What up, dog?
You cannot keep a good bird down.
That's right. That's right. Look, guys, we got a lot to talk about in the show. We mentioned the other day we were going to try to do a show on the Masters. Look, some things just happened. Life, right? It's just life. And so we weren't able to dedicate a whole show just to the Masters, but I don't think we can not mention what happened. First and foremost, the chicken and I were at the tournament on Wednesday. We were very fortunate enough to have our chairs right in front of the ninth green on the par 3 course, and was actually able to watch Rory's daughter do a little putt, that crazy putt. I'm sure everybody saw it on TikTok and everything else. And it went in and the crowd went crazy. I felt bad for the little girl because the crowd was so loud. It was the typical Masters roar that happened, and she got scared and started crying, and she wanted mommy.
Who wouldn't? I mean, if I had been able to hit that putt, if at any point in my life I hit that type of putt, I'm going to want my mom to.
Yeah. So, and then, this week happened Thursday, and Rory tanked it a little bit, man. He was doing great. And then Friday came along and Saturday, and he just went, and Sunday, man, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to be a golf fan to appreciate this year's Masters Sunday, man. It was electric. It was off the chain. The leader went up and down. I mean, Rory came in with a 2-shot lead and immediately lost the lead to Bryson, and not that Bryson.
Wrong
Sorry.
Bryson.
Different Bryson. This is Bryson D, not Bryson B. So
in a different life.
That's right. So, and then at one point, Rose, Justin Rose was the leader, and then Rory got it again, and then Rory missed a simple. Well, I don't think there's any simple putts at the Augusta National, but he missed a putt he probably shouldn't have made on the 18th green to go to a bogey to force a playoff. And then, honestly, man, to watch that guy's emotion after he made that putt on the 18th green on the playoff, man, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Got his Grand Slam, got his green jacket. Congratulations, Rory McIlroy, man, you deserve it. I was pulling for you the whole time.
Absolutely. And the fact that he went out of his way to make it exciting. I think that he duffed it on 18 just to keep us all watching.
Yeah, I mean, should he get Dog of the Week this week?
Maybe
so. Rory, you just joined a bunch of football guys. I wouldn't give him the gooch. I would definitely give him the dog of the week.
True.
So
that's true.
Yeah, you don't want to be the gooch because then that means you'll never win the Masters again.
That's right.
If you're a dog, there's a chance. Look, we got a lot of things to talk about. Like I said, we're going to recap the LSU show, but before we do, some crazy things that have happened, right? Florida won a natty, but in basketball.
Okay.
Yeah. But congratulations. Look, NCAA men's basketball national champions come from what conference?
The SEC.
That's right. Go ahead.
We had a chance for the women at the mighty Gamecocks women's basketball program to win a back-to-back championship until tip-off, where they failed miserably.
Yeah, Dawn Staley didn't have a great game. It wasn't her best showing.
Not her best, and she showed some frustration there at some point, or some points. They gave up a lot of points. It was a long night
They
for the
didn't
Lady
score a lot
Gamecocks.
of points.
They did not score. They certainly didn't score enough.
That's for sure. But look, they made it to the game, though, right? They made it to the game.
The bus arrived on time.
That's right. So, I mean, that's good to make it that far. In the so great. Congratulations. I mean, you made it. Sorry you didn't pull out the victory. Florida, great job. Kept it in the family in the SEC. The ACC is not the only people that can play basketball. We can too. We've proved that. We got basketball, we got football, we got golf and baseball, synchronized swimming, curling. We do it all. Yeah, that's right. The
Cornhole.
Look, let's move on from this. So the next thing I want to talk about is the quarterback situation at the University of Tennessee. I don't think we can wait a couple more weeks before we recap Tennessee's season to talk about this. I think we got to bring it up now because it's that big of a storyline. But what I like to say, because I have a hard time pronouncing words, especially anything with more than one syllable, I like to call him Nico Lamentations. But the quarterback from Tennessee, the starting quarterback last year, he's in a hot mess. And I'm going to let the chicken just really get in this because he's got some pretty cool takes on it. So go ahead.
Nico. You fell for the age-old greed there, big guy. He had a pretty high-dollar deal coming into Tennessee, played QB1. So it's not like this kid's looking at the possibilities of where he might land on the roster coming out of spring practice. He's QB1 at Tennessee, the Tennessee that went to the playoffs this past year. They got smoked, but they went to the playoffs. He didn't participate in spring practice the other day. He's trying to renegotiate his deal. And then a certain former SEC coach, assistant coach at the time, albeit, Dan Lanning, let his buddy Josh Heupel know that Nico was sniffing around, trying to see if he could find some big money at the University of Nike, also known as Oregon, and the Fighting Ducks. This has not played out well for Nico, chasing higher dollars, as at one point Tennessee said, we're good. We'll figure out something else. A lot of the other schools, Felicia,
Yeah.
and the horse you rode in on, they've backed away a little bit. Not a lot of traffic from other schools shining Nico's way. Nico is now trying to renegotiate. But another thing that I heard that I found very, very interesting. Nico's catching a lot of heat for this right now because he's the big name in this whole thing. However, yes, these young men are chasing big dollars, but it's the representation behind them that are chasing that big commission for themselves that are pushing these guys to make bad decisions. Nico was not the only one. However, several other athletes on other playoff schools this past season tried to renegotiate going into the playoffs. Why? The argument was made that their NIL deals were based on a 12-game season, or, hey, you make the conference championship 13. Postseason, however, that's not what that NIL contract is based on. So if you're looking at a team like Alabama, Tennessee, Notre Dame, schools that made it to the playoffs, well, maybe my guy deserves a bigger payday because look at where he took you. That actually happened this past playoff round. Now, we didn't hear about it at the time because nothing came of it. Nobody hit that whole bonus structure. But that's what I believe fueled this Nico round here in the offseason of, all right, fine, well, let's renegotiate now. It's killing the game. Flat out killing the game. But chicken scratch moment number one of this show. Brought to you by OTC Kennels, Off the Chain Kennels, OTC on Facebook, Instagram. Check them out. Does this provide enough of an opportunity for the bigger schools to stand up and say, enough is enough. We're going to set the market value for these players. We're not going to have this turn into Wild West free agency where players like Nico, and listen, the kid's talented, there's no doubt about it, but they're not going to hold us hostage year in and year out for however many millions of dollars they think that they can count to put in their bank account. Will these conferences, will these larger schools have the backbone to say there comes a time where you draw that line between chasing a championship and saving college football?
I think at least the way it sounds right now, Tennessee is doing that. Tennessee's making the stance and saying, later, next man up. You're not going to hold us hostage, and and see, this was a really weird situation. You mentioned something about, he was a starter, this year or last year, and he's projected to be a starter this year. I look at it like in Texas, right? So Texas has Arch Manning. It's been sitting there for a while, right? Arch has been waiting his turn. The census is he was gonna be QB1 in 2025, regardless. So I can understand a Quinn Ewers shopping around to try to get some money. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Or additional playing time.
Correct. But what Nico is doing right now, man, it is what drove the GOAT out of coaching college football. It's what happened. And so if this is like you said, this is the opportunity right now for the NCAA to say, and all the schools, and if the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC, I think I've said that right, all of them, the main four. We used to have 5, but now there's you got the Pac-2. We're not going to include the Pac-2 on this. So, but if you take the Power 4 conferences, if they will all get together and say, we're not going to allow this to happen. We're not going to allow this. We're not going to set this thing up where it's going to, now it's the next guy that's going to do it. It's the next guy. We are going to say, like you said, we are going to save college football. And I hope they do it because something's got to happen. Something drastic has got to happen to shake it, to get it right back in where college football needs to be.
I think
currently,
go ahead.
Sorry. Currently, it's not looking like that's going to happen. It looks like North Carolina is going to be getting him with Bill Belichick. He's crystal balled 100% to get him right now. Recent reports.
24-year-old girlfriends and overpaid quarterbacks.
That's right.
There you go.
She's not 24. She's 21.
And 3/4.
At 3/4. That's right.
What I liked about this whole thing, and I didn't know about the North Carolina angle, although I'm not remotely surprised, is that again the University of Nike. They were the ones that called it. They were the ones that threw the flag. Dan Lanning, come on. They got access to more money. Phil Knight can stroke a check for every player in the country, more than likely. We'll give you a shoe deal, right? They'll all be playing for Oregon. None of us will be able to field a team, right?
That's right.
That's the power that they've got over there in Eugene. And Dan Lanning says, nah, we're not doing that. In fact, I'm going to tell your dad.
That's right. I like it. Look, I think more coaches, and keep in mind, Dan Lanning came from the SEC, man. And he wants things to. Dan Lanning loves college football. He loves the landscape of college football, and I think he wants to continue that to go. He does not want to turn this into a professional sports. It's halfway there. Anything they can do to make it, to keep that separation between the NFL and college would be great. And this was definitely a good step, I think. And now I hope North Carolina, and look, maybe North Carolina is going to give him money. He's going to go somewhere other than Tennessee. I wouldn't want him at Tennessee at all anymore. If I was Josh Heupel, I wouldn't want him.
Well, if you're playing with him, if you're a teammate, do you want to play with this guy?
No.
No,
You know,
because his value is with the dollar. His value is not with the team.
we talked about that last week when it comes to Lenore Sellers. I'm not going to keep bringing, that stuff up, but I think that was a good point. Is Lenore Sellers Gamecock? He's a Gamecock through and throughout, man. And so, he's not a vol. He's not a volunteer. Which I don't even like that mascot name. I don't.
He's a paid individual. He's not a volunteer.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
That's right.
I got it.
So
I understood it. He didn't laugh because he didn't get it. But no shock, right? Like Belichick coming out of the pros, that this is all he knows how to do. Right?
That's right.
Is pick up another free agent and try and win something here. I don't think it works out. I really don't. Nico's going to go there. I get that. He'll be at Chapel Hill. But I don't think it works out for them. I don't see them making the playoffs this next year. They'll probably have a good year, 8, 9 wins maybe, but I don't see them going up. I think this backfires for Belichick.
Dude, I hope they lose every game. I'm just saying.
I have a strange feeling that it's going to be very good for UNC. Maybe not Nico specifically, but I think Belichick coming in is going to transition that football program, and I can see them competing for the ACC next year if he works out.
In year one, you think that?
And maybe not in year one because he's a redshirt sophomore. Nico is, so he has another. He could go into the draft after next season, but I bet you now he'll have to stay another year to get some more tape on the field because he's about to be playing a lot weaker teams now.
They said the same thing about Mac Brown when he came to North Carolina. Oh, he's going to bring it to North Carolina. And I'm not saying Bill Belichick is going to fail at it, but let's keep in mind, he's 94 and a half years old. And I don't think he's got the stamina to keep up with college football. I just don't. It's more work.
Not and his girlfriend. There's just no way.
No, she has demands. She has needs, but we're going to keep that clean. So,
right.
I think, yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but good for Tennessee just to stand their ground and let the boy walk, man. There's plenty of people out there for sure. A couple more things before we really start diving into LSU. I saw it online earlier that Ohio State, your reigning national champions, showed up to the White House. I think that's cool. I think that's needed. I think they should be celebrated. I think it should be celebrated on the biggest stage. They definitely were the better team last year. I don't care what anybody says. That offensive defense was just sick, and they've got a lot of players that are going to be going into the NFL. Matter of fact, it was kind of funny. Trump got in there, was talking to them. The president got in there, was talking to them for a minute, and he invited the offensive line up, right? And he was talking to them for a moment how good, how important it is to protect your star, quarterback with Will Howard and stuff like that. And he goes, you guys did it better than anyone ever could, and just gave them a lot of props. And then he started going around shaking their hands, and they all said, yeah, we're headed to the NFL. And Trump goes, I like their confidence. They didn't say that they want to go to the NFL. They said they are going to the NFL. So it was a pretty cool moment. I think we need to see more of that in this day and age. So
it's always good to see that many SEC players get their due. What a wonderful trip for those young men.
For sure.
They have at least one first-round pick on that offensive line. They're not lying.
Really?
Josh Simmons will be a first-round pick, yep.
So I'm sure he came from the SEC somehow, some way.
Quinton did.
Yes.
That's right. Judkins came from your best friend.
Well, yeah, look at the defense. Came from Junkins came from Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin.
How you doing?
God, I love that guy.
We know.
Yes, you do. They Caleb Downs from Alabama, sick. I mean, just nasty. And he's got one more year there. Because he was a sophomore, so
instant top 10 pick next year.
Oh, for sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So now we are going to dig into the LSU season and talk about LSU. But before we do, I think it's appropriate to, and we won't get into the specifics, man, just because it is what it is. But just to let you guys know from Chicken and the Dawg and B, look, man, our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers are with the LSU program and the family and friends of this young man, Lacey, their wide receiver, that took his life this weekend. I know he had a lot of stuff going on. Look, man, for anybody that this is affected, man, our hearts are with you.
Yeah. It's never too late to reach out if you need help, and if you have a teammate or a friend or a loved one that looks like they need help, reach out, because you never know that might be the hand that they're looking for.
That's for sure, man. Yeah, pay attention to people. So let's dive into their season. And man, was it crazy. So they opened up with a former Pac-12 team that moved to the Big Ten. My fine feathered friend loves the school. It's his second favorite. And they opened up with at the time a number 23. I will not say it. I will not say the initials. I will refer to them as Southern Cal, aka the Fighting Prophylactics, and they lost 27-20. LSU did. Not a good look. Not a good start. They came back next week and took on Nichols and beat them 44-21. You should have. Then they came to Coletown. We talked about this game quite a bit last week, and took on your South Carolina Gamecocks, and they won in a nail biter, 36-33. However, as like I said, we talked about that last week. There were some things that happened in that game, but you were losing. Then you took on another team that left the Pac-12, UCLA, and they went to the ACC, and you beat them 42-10. So things are starting to look up, man. You've got 4 wins under your belt. Then you take on my man, Ole Miss at home, number 9, and you beat them 29-26 in overtime. So there you go, 5 straight wins. Then you take on the Fighting Pittmans in Arkansas, and you beat them 34-10. So now you've just won 6 straight games after losing to the Trojans, right?
Yep.
Things are looking good. Then you take on number 14 Texas A&M, the Screaming Aggies, and you lose, man, 38-23. Then you take on number 11 Alabama at home at night. You should have won that game, but you didn't. Jalen Milroe showed up, and you lost 42-13. Then you go to the Swamp and take on Florida, and you lose 27-16. That's 3 in a row. Now everybody's going, who is LSU? Then you come back and beat Vandy 24-17 in Tennessee. Then you take on your last game of the season. You take on Oklahoma. Actually, it was at home, Oklahoma, and you beat them 37-17. Let me rephrase it. You didn't go to Tennessee. You actually played Vanderbilt at home. Let me correct myself. But you did take on Oklahoma at home, and you won 37-17. Then you had your bowl game. You went to the Kinder's Texas Bowl, took on the Fighting Baylor Bears, and you beat them 44-31. All in all, 9-win season, 8-win regular season. Not bad. Little crazy, but not bad.
A little crazy, had its ups and downs. One of the biggest strange moments was when they were playing UCLA out of the ACC when UCLA actually plays in the Big Ten. That was odd.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what to do with my hands.
It's okay. I expect these things. One of the most surprising things as you look back at the year that they had is Garret Nussmeier. In that opening loss, the kid still threw for 308 yards. Think about that first. 308 yards in a loss. This kid was electric. 29 touchdowns on the year, 12 picks, not the best. Throws for over 4,000 yards. Right? I mean, the guy was LSU this past season.
Look, Carson Beck threw 12 picks in 2 games.
Where you're thinking about Shakira all the time. That's going to happen. But again, as Garret Nussmeier went, so went LSU. In those 3 straight losses, he still shows out. I mean, 239 yards for the year against Bama, 260 in the loss to Florida. He lights it up, and they still figure out how to lose Texas A&M. 405 yards in the air that day.
It's nasty.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. If this kid can get everything right going into next year, look out.
Oh, I agree 100%. I was actually talking to a buddy of ours. We call him Uncle Si, and he's an Alabama obnoxious. Look, I say this about Alabama people all the time because they are the most obnoxious fans you'll ever find. But they kind of have a right. When I was watching that thing earlier about Ohio State, right? Ohio State, juggernaut of a program, right? I mean, it's one of the elite programs in college football. They were celebrating their 9th national championship. Their 9th. Alabama has twice that many. They have 18 national championships. Now, you know how I know that? Because anytime you bring up anything to negative about Alabama football, that's the only thing that's their comeback. We have 18 national championships. Well, okay. So yeah, you have a right to be a little arrogant. I get that. And this guy he's arrogant when it comes to Alabama football. But I told him, I was like, man, you got to watch out for LSU next season. Oh, we beat them, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that ain't happening again. I actually will tell you this. My honest opinion is LSU might be the most dangerous team next year in the SEC. Nussmeier, he's only going to be better, right? And he threw for 4,000 yards. I mean, can he throw for 4,500? I don't know, man. He's a stud.
He's going to have to because they're getting hit in the worst spot when you've got a quarterback like that, and that's on the defensive side of the football. No doubt that Nussmeier is going to throw for more yards next year. He's going to light up scoreboards. The question is going to be, is LSU going to be able to stop their opponents? And where's that start? That starts up front for LSU. Their top 4 defensive linemen graduated. Top 4. Swinson, Jones, Gio Payas. I can't say your name. Sorry, sir, but whatever. Sean, those guys are all gone. They're not coming back. They're not walking through that door. At the linebacker position, Greg Penn, gone. Number 2 middle linebacker there, he's gone. Defensive back position, you've got some transfers and some graduate activity there. Not your top 2. Stamps and Gilbert are going to be back, but Alexander's gone. Sage Ryan is gone. There's going to be some adjustments that are going to need to be made. They've lost 21 players either already through transfer or who are still in the portal. So there's some work that needs to be done for LSU in this offseason. But if they can figure out how to put a defense together then they could be very, very dangerous coming into next year.
Yes. But we got to remember who their head coach is, man. And Brian Kelly, man, I mean, he's a great coach. He's got the name recognition as being a great coach, as somebody that that you want to go play for. So this is the this is the thing that's beautiful about college football, is these players are rotating, right? It's next man up. It's next man up. And I think Kelly can do next man up on that defense just as good as anyone else could.
Well, when he's done doing that, he's going to have to then go to his offensive line, because the only returning player that they've got on that O-line is their center, DJ Chester. Your right tackle, draft. Your right guard, draft. Your left guard, graduated. Your left tackle, draft.
Oh my.
It's, there's going to be some holes to fill. Now you talk about next man up. You got a 4-star true freshman, Tyree Adams, that'll be filling that spot probably at the left tackle position. You've got a 4-star Weston Davis, true freshman, that will probably be filling that spot at the right tackle position. So they're going to make some moves here again in this offseason. You've got some next man up in that locker room, but there's going to be work to be done. It's not an automatic ticket stamp. Good thing that you've got Nussmeier, but it's not an automatic ticket stamp for them to be successful in the SEC this next year. Alabama is going to play with a chip on their shoulder.
In Tuscaloosa.
It should have been us in the playoffs. Lane Kiffin is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. It should have been us in the playoffs. LSU is going to have a long, rocky road.
Whoa. You missed someone. You know who's going to come in with a chip on their shoulder is South Carolina Gamecocks and Lenora Sellers.
Well, yes, that's a given.
Okay. All right.
We always come in with a chip on our shoulders. Now, whether or not we can actually do anything about it, historically is the argument. But
you guys are a little cocky. Yeah. So, I mean, they have a hard, I mean, if you look at it, man, if you look at the top 5, if I'm going to ask you a question. So give me the top, who you think is the top 5 teams. And B, you can answer this thing too. Who do you think is the top 5 teams being the SEC this year? Give me your top 5.
I mean, I'm going to go South Carolina.
Okay.
I'm going to go Alabama. I'm going to go Ole Miss.
Okay.
I would have until recent news with Nico gone Tennessee, but I now will not. I don't know enough. I know that you went, and we'll let you talk about that in a little bit. I don't know enough about how I feel about Georgia coming in this year, not because Beck is gone, not because Gunnar Stockton is maybe not as proven as you would like to see, but because you still got Bobo. That's just a big question mark for me. I love the way that Florida came on at the end of the year last year, but am I ready to put them in my top 5? Probably not. So it kind of leaves some room there by default with A&M. Where do you put A&M coming into the year? Where do you put LSU coming into the year? Where do you put Georgia? It's kind of a toss-up there for those last 2 spots, but definitely Bama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. I definitely put those guys in the top 5. And then the last 2 spots are just kind of up for grabs amongst A&M, Georgia, and
Longhorns.
Yeah. I mean, how are they going to fare with Arch this year? Arch is in the driver's seat. So maybe that locks down another's position there in that top 5.
It should. I would probably put Carolina and LSU as the only 2 teams I can for sure say will be in there. And then I think with Kirby, you got the best coach in college football. I think you have to put Georgia in there. And then I'll go with Ole Miss and Texas to round it off.
So in my top 5, I was going to think Georgia, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, and then and it's still hard for me to get used to Texas being in the SEC. So I apologize, all you Longhorn guys. No, it's not a shot at you guys, but I just sometimes forget, even though we beat you twice last year. Go Dogs.
The only reason that I hesitate about Texas is when Arch played early in the season, you thought, well, this kid is just amazing. And then later in the year, even in the playoffs, when he would get an opportunity to get in there under center, it was unimpressive. There wasn't a dynamic shift. In fact, most of the time, the opposing defense thought if we box him in and keep these receivers covered, he's going to have to tuck it and run. And we just got to stop him from getting anything significant. And they did. They did.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I think you had a legitimate point a minute ago when you said, potentially Florida coming on, man. I mean, they could potentially be there. But my whole reasoning for asking that question is this. LSU has to play South Carolina. Yes, they play them at home, but like I said, South Carolina's coming in, man. They are going to be mad. And it's the third game of the season. Which was the third game of the season last year, right? It's going to be a game. They have to play Ole Miss. They play them at Ole Miss. And then you have to go to Tuscaloosa. And you got to play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Man, that's 3 games right there. And it's hard. I mean, you got 3 teams that are potentially the top 5 in the SEC, 3 of the top 5. And, yes, you get to play Florida at home. And, I mean, they got a tough schedule next year, man. And so Brian Kelly better he better get his team ready. He's got the quarterback. If he can get the other things in place, man, good gracious. I really believe LSU has the potential to be really special next year. I'm not going to say they're going to be as special as the team with Joe Burrow. That was one of the best college football teams I've ever seen in my life on both sides of the field. The only team I would put up close to that would be the very next year with Alabama when
Bryce Young or Mac Jones?
No, it was Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones took over that program, man, and oh my gosh. I mean, both of those teams, man, that LSU and then the next year that Alabama, those are some of the best teams I've ever seen.
That's Heisman Devonta Smith, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an elite squad.
Yeah, that was both of them teams were, I mean, and I'd still probably say that LSU was probably the best team. That LSU team was probably the best overall from top to bottom, both sides of the ball. They were just sick.
So, Absolutely.
Two first-round receivers, the first overall quarterback, a first-round running back. Like, it was an elite offense. And then you got all those. You got Derek Stingley, top 3 overall, corner. I mean, there's so many players on that defense that we could talk all day about that team.
Yeah, that was a very good team. But, like I said, man, they had a pretty good year this year. Kind of crazy to think about. They lost to A&M. They got smoked by Alabama, and they lost to Florida. Those 3 games in a row, man. But Brian, but Kelly pulled it back together and won his last 3. So I mean, that's a positive. At least he finished on a positive and not got beat by the Fighting Curtises the last game.
Yeah, it started looking kind of rocky there, dropping 3 in a row. The way now listen, that was a tough neck of the schedule for them, but it wasn't looking good when they got thumped by Alabama, and then ended up following it the next week with a loss to Florida. People were holding their breath when they had to go up against Vanderbilt when Vandy came to town, because Vandy was having a very special year.
Ernie.
Can you imagine, right? Hey, Bert, can you imagine what they would have done there in Baton Rouge had Ernie been able to bring Sesame Street to town.
Oh yeah, that would have. They may have been able to win that game, or would the Muppets got a little toasty?
I think so. I think that would have been a quick little trip somewhere, and maybe Sesame Street could have been a lot like Bourbon Street.
Well, yes. I mean, we've been to Baton Rouge, LSU, LSU Alabama game in 18 or 19. What was it? 18. Okay, so we've been there, man, and that game. Wow.
It's a special environment.
We talk about Ole Miss being special and the Grove, and that was. I mean, that they have their own thing, but you want to talk about the most welcoming / hostile environment you'll ever go to? Go to Baton Rouge.
Go to Baton Rouge.
As long as you're not the team that they're playing, they love you. They fed us, man. Oh my God, the boudin balls. Oh my God. I mean, I'm getting fatter just thinking about that again. I said, I didn't say fat. I said fatter.
With a PH.
Yeah, with a PH. That's right.
That's right.
But all in all, I mean, again, you finished the season outright. You won your last 4 games. You won your bowl game, and now it's time to go into the 2025 season and do some good. That's pretty much all I've got to say about LSU, unless you got anything else.
Nah, I'm all crowed out.
Okay, now this past Saturday, Masters Saturday, I did leave the comforts of Augusta, Georgia, being in front of my television and watching the Masters tournament to go to the motherland, Athens, GA, and watch my beloved Bulldogs and your beloved Bulldogs, because who doesn't love a Bulldog? Let's be honest.
What? Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about your team.
Oh, well, I was. But we went and watched their spring game. And I know spring games are on a decline. But, I mean, it gave us a little bit of look and to see what they've got. And one of the things that I really enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching it, man. It kind of got me pumped. It was almost like that mid-off-season little pump up, little give me a little bit of something, get me ready for the season, right? But one of the things that I saw was we have a transfer from your second favorite school, the Prophylactics, Southern Cal, a wide receiver named Zachariah Branch. Dude, this kid is good. And he's not big. I think he's like 5'10", 180 pounds. But, dude, he was all over the field, catching balls left and right. Something Georgia desperately needs is someone that's able to catch the football. And I told Bryson, you and I talked about this a lot during the Georgia season. One of the things that Georgia was missing this last season, and we're going to talk about Georgia in a couple of weeks, was their tight end. They were missing Brock Bowers. There was no doubt about that. So as B and I were getting, sitting there watching this game, I looked at him and I said, man, the thing I want to see the most out of these 2 quarterbacks was, are they going to use the tight ends? And they did. Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky. They've got a couple freshman tight ends, a number 1 tight end, I think, coming in.
Elias Williams.
Yes, this dude is. He caught a ball or 2. They used the tight end, so that was a good thing. Now, I also saw some Mike Bobo play calling out there. Typical Mike Bobo play calling. Did not like it at all. The first half of the spring game, the best thing I can say was, I think our defense is going to be sick. But isn't that what you expect out of a Kirby Smart? You expect his defense is going to be nasty every year. He's arguably one of the best defensive guys in college football, maybe one of the best defensive coordinators to ever do the job. He's nasty in defense. I mean, that's him. Can we get our offense together? The second half of the spring game showed me a little bit that I am optimistic that Georgia is going to have a pretty good season next year. I really am. B, what do you think?
I think we over relied on the screen plays again, of course. But I do think we're going to get, the most simple and basic play calling in the spring game. But yeah, we had 4 or 5 tight ends out there that just looked like they were SEC tight ends, and that's crazy. We got 2 of them are freshmen, but I know it's a spring game. We were still missing our receiver 2, Noah Thomas transfer. Didn't see him out there. So, we'll have another guy. But other than that, man, we looked really good. I think our defense looked more speed focused and more pursuit focused more than anything. And I really do think if for some reason Stockton goes down, man, we have a nice backup in Puglisi, man. He looks really good out there. Or he did look good.
He did look really good, man. I mean, you could tell he had some, I'm not going to call it jitters, but I mean, it's his first time, really. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. So he was there last year during the spring game. He was there all season long and but this is his first time running the second team in a spring game. So you're right. I mean, at first there was a little bit of shakiness, but when he settled in, man, the boy's got a cannon, man. He's got an arm.
Yeah, they let him have a run there at the beginning of the second half with the first team, and he looked very good. I would say, yeah, he looked real good.
We definitely have 2 running quarterbacks right now. Stockton's got some wheels and he can take off. So I hate to say this, but I like where Georgia's at. I think we're going to be fine. If we're not, then fire Bobo.
I think our defensive backs looked better than last year, based on the little percentage of tape that we got. I mean, they just looked a lot better as well.
I will tell you this, though. Nobody threw to the side where K.J. Bolden was at. They knew better. He never had any pass thrown his side.
He's going to be another one of those guys.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be
Could be the best player on the team right now.
He could be.
Literally.
He really could be. He's nasty. And he's a true sophomore. So I mean, Georgia's deep in every position they have. They did have a true freshman from the Augusta area on the offensive line.
Mason Short from Evans High School.
True freshman.
Yep.
At best, he's 19. At best.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was 6'6", 308 pounds, I think it was 310 pounds. Oh my God. How do you make him? I mean, and look, Georgia ain't gonna do nothing but put weight on him. This dude's gonna be 330 before you know it. So, I mean, this dude was huge, man. But it was fun. It was my first spring game ever to go to, and hopefully next year, if the SEC will hurry up and approve our media credentials, maybe we'll be on the field. So
I'm sorry.
Hurry up,
I was
SEC.
still asleep there. You were talking about some other school that we weren't recapping. My mind drifts. Yeah, that'd be nice to get our credentials. I'd love to go to media days this summer. That'd be sweet.
Yes, it would. But look, anyway, so we'll see what happens with Georgia. We're going to recap their season in a few weeks.
Again, apparently. We'll recap it again, apparently.
We didn't talk about the season. We talked about spring practice.
Look, I am not looking forward. I'm going to tell you, I'm not looking forward to recapping Georgia's season because I didn't like their season at all.
You're going to have to talk about Carson Beck. And you're going to have to talk about Carson Beck in a light that shines brighter than if you had been saddled with Vander Griffgroff.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to talk about
It's
it. I'm
like
gonna have to
saying
talk
you
about
don't
this
have the flu, but you do have strep throat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, well, he has one every now and then. Every dog has his day. Oh,
So
chicken.
Carson wasn't a dog.
Or chicken? Okay, never mind.
Both.
Anyway.
There you go.
I digress. So, look, man, I got nothing else to talk about. I know that's a shocker to most people, but I am done. You good?
Yeah, I'm crowed out. I'm good.
Okay, B, you got anything?
That's all. I mean, we got the NFL draft here next Thursday, and I guess we are talking about LSU. They should have 2-3 guys in there. Definitely that offensive tackle that we were talking about earlier, Will Campbell, he'll definitely be in there. He'll be top 5, top 10.
Look, guys,
Look forward to that.
Follow us on Instagram, and Bryson's out there putting some short clips on Instagram and TikTok. Look good. Watch them, like them, click on them, comment on them, subscribe. Yeah. Look, man, because we're building this thing. This thing's moving pretty quick. We hope so. I mean, like I said, we just put some on yesterday, 24 hours, and we got several hundred views, man. And I know it doesn't sound much, but look, that's a lot for the first one. So like us, love us, share us, subscribe. That's all I got. Love you. Deuces.